you've got internal customers, which are your employees. And if you could truly want to make their lives better, truly want them to become homeowners, truly want to be a dream maker, homeownership, putting their kids through college, going on the trips they want to go to, enrich their lives, then business will come so much easier to you. But so often we say, man, those idiots don't listen to me. They can't do it like me. If I don't do it myself, it won't get done right.
I think the big takeaway is notice that every single aspect of the business has a number associated with it, right? This is where you have to really dive into your numbers and understand, what does it cost you to get a phone call? What's the closing rate on that phone call to get from phone call to appointment? How many appointments do you need to get an inked deal? Like all of these numbers. And as a business owner, if you're not familiar with these numbers, you're never going to have the business of your.
A lot of people went into business for the wrong why, the wrong reason, the wrong purpose. And those people really don't have a shot at winning most of the time, because they went in because they thought they were a good technician. They didn't go in understanding they're going to have to be a great leader. They're going to have to start reading. They're going to have to start public speaking. They're going to have to start understanding financing and accounting. They're going to have to understand marketing. They're going to have to understand how to deal with management. They're going to understand how to hire, how to recruit. They didn't go into that. They said, I didn't sign up for this. And a lot of them are great. They're one-man armies. The day they hire another employee, good luck. But what they thought they were getting was more freedom. But instead of having a 9 to 5, now they're 24/7.
I think more businesses should really look at it and say, instead of me pocketing an additional $200, $300 million, or whatever it is, how is it that I can invest back in my people so that I can have people that are buying into me, buying into the company vision, and that are going to be cheerleaders for my organization, and byproduct of that are going to bring in more A players.
Owning any type of restoration business is demanding of your time, your energy, and resources. And that's why we're here. This is Restoration Domination. If you're a contractor in water mitigation, mold remediation, biohazard cleanup, roofers, or public adjusters, you'll learn how to dominate using some of the techniques and strategies that our guests will share. We'll interview top industry insiders, movers and shakers, hustlers and hackers, and anyone dominating their industry. This is Restoration Domination. Hustle, hack, and dominate. And here's your host, Rico Garcia.
All right, guys, what is going on? Rico Garcia here once again with another great fire episode. So as you guys know by now, I like to bring diversity. Yes, we are water mitigation, mold remediators, we're roofers, we're public adjusters, we're in the insurance game. However, I do believe in universal principles. I believe that there is something to learn from every successful business, because typically there's clues to how you can become successful in your business. So today I've got a very, very exciting guest. He's wrote a book, which is absolutely amazing. We're definitely going to go ahead and have a link in the video description and in the show notes below. I definitely recommend that you get the book. Great story. Went from $50,000 in debt to over a $40 million company. I think this is the new update, right? To over $40 million in revenue. The one and only Tommy Mello. Welcome to the show, brother. Are you ready to help us dominate?
I'm ready, Rico. Let's do this. I'm excited.
Great, man. So fill in a couple of the gaps in the intro here. Like, tell us exactly like who you are and what it is that your company does.
Yeah, so we do garage door repair. We do retrofit garage doors. That's what we specialize in. We don't get into the Home Depot, Lowe's. We don't get into the home warranties. We don't do a lot of new construction. I think that's the problem with a lot of contractors, is they're a jack of all trades, a master of none. We are actually on course to do about $84 million this year. We're past 60 right now. Getting ready to close on a big acquisition, which is awesome. My plan next year is to try to buy 60 companies. I'll explain that later. You're probably like, yeah, right, dude. But so started in garage doors when I was in my early 20s, kind of just by accident. Started painting garage doors, and then made every single mistake you could think of in the book. I owed the IRS, I owed the city of Mesa, Arizona. I screwed up in my marketing. I ended up kind of going different ways with my business partner in 2010. So it was Han Solo for a while there. I got my mom and stepdad to come help me run the business, and 2014 met one of the main guys that's running the company now, Adam next door, and got on a great CRM called Service Titan in 2017. And, it's been a series of fast mistakes, but I don't make the same mistake twice. And got to write that book about 3 years ago. There are 12 co-authors in it, really, really smart people, like the CEO of Service Titan. I got the COO of Home Advisor. I've got Al Levy that wrote the 7-Power Contractor, taught me how to do manuals. I think the secret has been being the dumbest guy in the room and always learning. I read a lot of books. You can see some behind me. And I'll tell you what, I have fun. I got to tell you, since the day I started this, I still walk into work and just have a blast. I've been doing a lot of keynote speaking lately, and it's so much fun. Every year it's like a new business. So I'm here to tell you about how many times I screwed up, and hopefully you guys don't make the same mistakes.
Well, that's exactly what I want to jump into, right? Because it's so easy to talk about our successes, right? Because again, it's the climax, it's the end result, but like nobody knows like all the struggle and all of the mistakes that you made. And I know that this is going to be tough to narrow down, but as a general rule, if you had to tell me your top 5 mistakes that you made early on in your business, what would you think those would be?
Oh, I can come up with those pretty easy. Number one is not knowing your numbers correctly. There's a lot of times as males in particular, and I'm sure there's plenty of females out there, but we don't like to go see the doctor. And the doctor in business is the accountant or your CPA. And for some reason, we hate to hear the news from the controller or the CFO. The best thing you can do is know your numbers and have a great, great, great controller. Typically, that's the last thing someone does when they're really, really good at a trade. They come in and they kind of say that there's money in the account. The next thing that I can tell you that's a huge mistake is most business owners have ADHD. They got the bright light syndrome. So they say, hey, I'm finally starting to make money. Now I can finally be a bar owner and an investor in real estate. And now I can buy that second cabin. And I think one of the things that most of us do is we put our sweat equity in. And whether we have wives or not, or husbands, if you're a woman owner, I think we always say, well, we're owed this. We deserve this. We've been working our butts off. We deserve to buy these things. And they're losers. Whether it's a snowmobile, a boat, they don't build money for you. So the first 5 years, we put sweat equity in, and then we finally say we deserve this, and that's a bunch of bullshit. Excuse my French, but you don't deserve anything. The business paid you that. Put the money back in and watch it multiply exponentially. The other thing I did is anything that could breathe, I'd hire. If you walked in, I would try to sell myself to you and sell the business to you rather than interview several hundred people. Now I've got my pick of the litter because I made this mistake, and I'll tell you, this is probably the number one thing, is you've got internal customers, which are your employees. And if you could truly want to make their lives better, truly want them to become homeowners, truly want to be a dream maker, home ownership, putting their kids through college, going on the trips they want to go to, enrich their lives, then business will come so much easier to you. But so often we say, man, those idiots don't listen to me. They can't do it like me. If I don't do it myself, it won't get done right. So we never really learn how to delegate properly. We take too much on, and we stay firefighters. I could keep going, but another big one was CRMs. I'm on my 5th CRM. I love Service Titan, and it's never going to be easy. But finding a system to not use the availability of technology is a huge mistake. And one of the other big things, because you asked for 5, this will be the 5th one, is I had to figure out a way to replicate people. So I had to build a training center. I had to get recruiters. I had to get trainers. I had to be able to build. Right now I have 26 guys here training. I got 35 coming next month. I got 50 coming the next month. That's just technicians. Now I know my ratios. For every 9 techs, I need a dispatcher. For every 4.5 techs, I need a CSR. So I know all the math that needs to happen, and it's all simple math to basically be able to scale this company to, the plan is to get to $1 million in less than 4 years from now in revenue. I mean, $1 billion in less than 4 years. So I need 2,000 technicians doing $500,000 a year. That equals $1 billion. And I've got the blueprint on how to do it. So when you could actually comprehend the way you're going to get somewhere, it's very, very easy to do because it all makes sense. And it's not complicated. I think a lot of people complicate things way too much. I make them very, very easy. Everyone here knows where we're going to get to. There's a mission, vision, core values. And once that's really done, it's like nail it and scale it, man. Go out there and get it.
So kind of going back to the earlier stage, right? Because again, there's going to be a lot of people that are watching the video, a lot of people that are listening to the podcast, and they're going to be like, yeah, well, Tommy, well, yeah, screw you. You're on your way to making $80 million. Like, you know, these are all easy things because you can have all of these people, the right players in place, right? Like you're not, but there was a point in time where you didn't have all of the right players. So you were wearing all of the hats. So when was it that you really started to say, okay, these are the important metrics that I need to start following, and these are the important players that I need to go ahead and hire? Because kind of going back to what you said, sometimes we, as business owners, we start making money and we're faced with the decision. Either A, we put that money, and instead of buying a new car or getting a new boat or getting an ATV, instead of doing that, we have to reinvest that money in an employee, a key player. And a lot of business owners, what they choose to do is to buy that toy. So did you battle with that? Was there a grace period to your success where you had all of these issues and you finally came to an awakening and said, okay, I need to go ahead and get all of these things in a row? Or did you just pick up right from the day one?
You know, there was never, it was all hard. I think one of the biggest things of the new business owner, the first 5 years in business, is you got to identify if you're an integrator or a visionary. Most of us are visionaries that start a business. We have all these ideas. We see the business in 10 years from now. For example, Walt Disney was a visionary. He had all these grand ideas for Disney World and then Disneyland and then these rides and then Mickey Mouse. But without his buddy, his brother Roy, none of this would be, he doesn't know what was in his account. So if you really need to find somebody, you need to have this key person to rely on. And read the book. It's called Rocket Fuel. It'll change your life. Hundreds of books, probably thousands of books I've read, but Rocket Fuel was one that really taught me what I needed. And then I realized that I had that in Adam. I just needed to realize my seat on the bus. And that's a Jim Collins book, Built to Last. But ultimately, I think what I had to realize from Al Levy is we needed a really good org chart. We needed good descriptions of the jobs. We needed a playbook, which I have manuals. I have 40 manuals. I got some manuals sitting over there. But the fact is that when I was a kid in gym, we learned how to play the game. Every Friday, they gave us sheets, and we learned what a field goal was, a touchdown. We learned what a 2-point conversion, 3 points for kicking a field goal, 6 points for a touchdown. We learned exactly basketball. We learned soccer. Well, a lot of times what we do is say, you're going to come learn how to play the game. There's nothing written down. There's nothing how to take time off. There's nothing that happens about tattoo policies. So they never really learn how to play the game, and they go watch somebody play for 2 weeks, which is a ride-along. And they're supposed to learn everything they're supposed to know, and that's just crap. It's bullshit. Number two, what I did is I hired around my weaknesses. A lot of people try to hire people like them. I'm not good at time management. I'm not good at organization, so I got an assistant who's amazing that handles all that. I don't love Excel, pivot tables, and all that stuff. It's not my forte, so I've got guys all around me that do that. I don't love building graphs. So literally my whole goal has been I love marketing and sales, and I position myself in the company to do that. And I think too often that we don't – personal assistant is probably the best thing you could do, but a lot of people say, I don't know what I would have them do. I'm the guy that needs to look at everything. I got to go through each of my emails. I'm the one that knows my contacts. If you really built something from 7 in the morning till 10 at night and said all the time you get distracted in the BS that happens in your day – and you have somebody help you, you can make yourself 5 times more effective. I'm working on hiring another person for help that I think I can grow another 5 times more effective, which 5 times 5 means 25 times more efficient. And if you look at guys, and I'm going to just go right to the top, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett, any of those guys, their best time is spent creating relationships. It's not in there doing the dirty work. It's being a leader. It's being in front of everybody, showing them where we're going. And too often, I was out there doing all the work. And like Michael Gerber always says, E-Myth, I was working in the business all day, never working on it. And that was a huge mistake.
Right. So now this is funny, though. So just an observation. You're an energetic guy. You just got off a plane. You're jumping on the podcast. You're all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. You're ready to rock and roll. You and I are going to get off this podcast, and you're just about to go, you're going to finish doing whatever other projects it is that you have. There's a lot of people that say, you know what? I don't have that. Like, I'm not that. I'm a really good technician, but I'm not that. I'm not the face of the company. So in that situation, what would your recommendation be? What does a guy or a gal who's an introvert do in order to grow that portion of the business, right? To have the relationship management?
So what you're talking about is a lot to do with mindset, and there are great people that are introvert, that are C-type personalities that could run a business, but they need to find that person, that energy. They need to find that person. So the integrator in that case is going to be someone that is loud. They pull people up. They ask everybody's names. They remember names. They love to be in a crowd. See, I love that, and therefore people will follow me. The danger you have if you're not that person is this person, if you don't have great non-competes, you want to be the one that's always there at the awards ceremony, handing out the awards. You want to be the one that creates loyalty. A lot of people say create the loyalty to the company. I'm a big fan of creating it to the owner, but you don't want to build a business that depends on the owner, so you got to have a good transitionary period. But I've seen companies literally where 10 of the top guys will leave. They'll follow a manager with them. And that's a big mistake. So the hands off, guys walk in here at least on a daily basis. I'm not even kidding. There's 400 employees now. And they say, you know what I respect the most about being here is we're 10 times bigger than the last company I worked at. And yet you're here every freaking day. Every Saturday I show up, you come in. Every Sunday, if I happen to be in the neighborhood, I stop by, you're here. And I'm not saying that you guys need to work weekends and nights. I'm just fortunate. I'm fortunate enough, but unfortunate. I love to work. It's kind of a blessing and a curse. But people say, man, how do you define success? And it's never easy. And if it is easy, the chances are you're going to lose that. Because if you didn't have to work hard to get it, it's easy to lose it. And I will say that I had to bust my butt. And if I had to get back to the top, I could do it 10 times quicker. And people say, well, what's the secret? And it's really hard. It's kind of like when your dad told you, I wish I knew then what I know now. And I used to be like, Dad, tell me, what the hell are you talking about? And it's just this confidence.
Right. We've all been there.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So kind of going back to the early stages, and I know that you recognized that, again, like you said, 5-year was kind of the period. What was that one decision or series of decisions where your business all of a sudden started to really catapult in the direction that you wanted it to go?
Well, I'd say when I heard the phrase revenue is for vanity and profit is for sanity, and that stuck with me because all of a sudden I said, who gives a shit how much I'm making this year? As a revenue, quit bragging about revenue. That's like saying I bought a brand new Beamer, but I live with my mom. It doesn't matter what your revenue is. The only thing I will say about revenue is if you focus on when you're building revenue and your profit's not there, it's easy to turn these dials. A lot of people just focus on profit, and I'd say it's a combination of both. I was always how much revenue. When one day I figured out what is my average ticket, start with that. So what do I want to do this year? Say 10 million. Then I looked at my average ticket. Then I look at my conversion rate, both in service and sales. Then I looked at my booking rate. Then I looked for my cost per acquisition. When I was able to put all these things together and realize what the industry average, the best were, and then the industry average, when you move this number 10%, this number 8%, double the average ticket and cut the average cost per acquisition in half, you actually 4 times the profit. So when you understand these things and know where to focus, it's really difficult if you don't have great reporting. And bad data in is bad reports out. So learning how to get a system that can tell you, now that we're in 18 states, we're in 26 markets, I can compare markets and I can say, why is our cost of goods up in this market? Or what's going on with our, we got variable and non-variable expenses. And I'll look at it and I'll say, rent's up here. We had to pay more rent in Denver because of this. So I'll look at certain things and allow me to, but then from there, I'll tell you what's broken out of almost every single company listening right now. I'd be willing to bet that there's less than 10% of the people that have their pricing dialed in. I'm not saying they're not dialing enough process or enough prices. Most people aren't charging enough. I guarantee you. I guarantee you you're not charging even close to enough money. Because now you have a hard time getting labor. 401k I started. I pay for their Aflac. I pay for their insurance. We pay for their brand new trucks. The trucks are up. Trucks are up $20,000. Listen, wraps are up.
Right.
Getting them staged are up. Gas is up. Insurance. And then if this Biden law passes, I'm going to have $2,500 more per vehicle at the bare minimum. We're going to be paying for natural gas. Well, here's a little secret. I just add that to my customer's price. Every single time. You should build your price book based on gross margin of at least 60%. And unfortunately, most people listening probably have no idea what that means or know how to get there. And I'm not saying you have any problems. I'm saying go visit somebody that does. Invest in yourself. The other day I was having a few beers with a buddy of mine, and he goes, hey, I got $30,000. What should I do? I said, $30,000 won't do anything. 30 grand is not going to buy you a house. I don't recommend that right now. 30 grand is not going to, don't put it into Bitcoin right now. I said, here's what you do. You find out the 3 top places, the 3 top mentors you have, and you buy them all $1,000 gift. You mail it to them, and you write down 40 questions that you want to know, and you take time to fly out to them, and you go stay with them for a week. And you literally, you take your 10-year plan and cut it into 1 by doing that. If I had 30 grand today, that's what I do. There's no way I would invest in myself with 30 grand. Now, if I have 500 grand, it's a different story. Now, I always want to buy assets that pay me back dividends every single year. But I think the funny part is you've got to put the money into your own brand. I mean, we spent a fortune on PR for A1. I've got a full-time guy starting on the 25th that's just going to follow me around with a camera. We're going to be posting on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Now, the deal is I want to be the biggest influencer in the space. Now, why would I want to do that? Well, I want to buy out a bunch of companies. I think I could offer a lot. I think I could shortcut people to the top. And I think I'll also have enough money to invest in them more than most. Right now, a lot of people say you can't live until you sell your company. Well, I got to tell you, I've done really, really well with the buildings we've bought. I've done really, really well with, and I'm not bragging by any means, but I don't need to sell the business, and that's the best spot you could ever be in. I went and got a line. We got a line for $40 million because I don't need it, but I'm trying to buy companies. Right. You never go borrow money when you need it.
Right. And the beauty is that these are all your assets, right? Like this is, you're enjoying what it is that you do. You're investing your money wisely in things that are going to build your overall net worth. And that's really should be the whole goal in owning a business. And where I think a lot of people get lost is when they enter the marketplace and like, you know what, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to start my own business. And they're always pursuing all of this freedom. But then they kind of get on this hamster wheel where they kind of created this 24-hour job and they're not investing their revenues or their profits wisely. And that's why they say, hey, look, I'm not happy. I'm trying to sell. But one of the biggest issues is that they did not build their company to be sellable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Something that you did is, and this is where I think the real magic is, you're comfortable not selling, but you built your company in a way because you understand your metrics, you understand your numbers, you have everything systemized. That's a packaged company with a bow on top, ready to go ahead and be sold whenever it is that you want, right? So do you think that people should, from an early stage, look at their company and say, how can I package this up to be sellable?
Yeah, there's a great book called Built to Sell. And it's, of course, you want to build something because what do you know when you're about to sell something? Here's what happens is, let's just pretend we have a house. Well, I know I'm going to have to get that door fixed that we've been talking about for years. The creak on the floor. You basically make it beautiful. You make everything work right. When a business is being sold, you go, I've heard this now. I've been in this game long enough. Yeah, my dad works for me. He probably should have retired 5 years ago. My best friend's brother works for me, and he's kind of an asshole. Doesn't really do his job, but, what am I supposed to do? We're sitting on a bunch of inventory we knew we have to get rid of. Like, when you start changing your mindset of, what would this be if someone walks to a potential buyer? Let me explain something to you, because this is probably the most important thing any business owner is ever going to hear in their life. There's a word called arbitrage, and I want you to remember that word arbitrage. Back in the day, there was a thing called clipper ships, and in the 1860s, the clipper ships were the fastest ships in the world. And there was a little thing called the gold rush that happened on the West Coast, there in California, along the Pacific. And what these ships would do, these clipper ships, they go from New York all the way around, and they could get there in 3 days. And if they buy shoes for $1, they sell them for $6. They buy clothes, they buy all this merchandise, and they make 5-6 times their money. Well, now, if I build a business, typically there's this fancy word called EBITDA. It just means profit. How much did I profit this year? And I don't want to go into what EBITDA means, but if I profit $300,000, and I'm probably worth about a 3 times multiple in most industries. Now, pest control and things are different, but so that's about a $900,000 company. Now, for me, right now with the multiples that are out there, I'm probably worth 15 to 20 times because we've got systems, we've got guaranteed profit, we've got the size that are better for investors. So when I start buying companies and putting my systems in place and then growing that business, the arbitrage, the multiple goes up. So it's better than people that deal drugs. It's better than real estate. It's better, because I could buy something in the same day and worth 5 times more. And so they could get the upside of me fixing all their broken stuff, like their booking rate average ticket, and I could give them a lot of the upside. And I could give them a bigger payday than anybody in the industry. But on the great side of it is I get that arbitrage because I work really hard to grow a business. So I have a CFO, we've got a controller, we've got a COO, we've got a CIO, we've got all these crazy positions that are a real company. So businesses look at this, investors, and they go, whoa, they've got so many people at 6 figures to do all these designated things, to learn the pricing models, to make sure the marketing's spot on, to make sure the employees are doing what they're supposed to be. That's my secret sauce, though, is really recruiting and training. I think that's the number one thing that we have on almost all companies is, who do you know right now in this period that can get 40 new technicians trained in their market in a month? Because it takes me 60 days, but I always got a new one every 30 days coming on. So that's the secret sauce. But when you learn about this arbitrage and you become a platform company, oh my God, the game just changes. It feels like you're on Wall Street because you're looking through balance sheets and income statements and you're like circling stuff and it's like, holy shit. And it becomes this really, really cool thing that I can't even explain, but it's so much fun.
So let's talk about marketing and getting your message out there. And in your opinion, right now, knowing what the landscape looks like, a newer company or a company that's sub $5 million in top line revenue, what would you suggest being the best use of their marketing dollars? Is it YouTube? Is it Google Ads? Is it SEO?
This is easy. Number one, first and foremost, I always see a mistake in your brand. They got such a shitty brand. You look at their trucks, you can't even tell what the hell they do. Their billboards don't match, their yard signs don't match, their coupons don't match anything. So you need to create a brand. If you're going to do anything, get a brand. I went to Dan Antonelli with Kick Charge. I invest a lot of money. And now my website looks like my trucks, and it's simple messaging. So brand comes number one. Build a brand and make sure you have a website. Number two, get your trucks wrapped. Get them a full wrap with 3M material. It's a one-time fee for every 5 years, and it's the best ROI you'll ever get. Number three, yes, Google is God. There's 4 algorithms on Google. There's pay-per-click. There's what's called Google My Business, the GMB that tells the hours and reviews. There's organic, which is SEO. And the fourth one, which is kind of new, is Google Guarantee. So you get a Google Guarantee ad, and that comes at the top. And I won't go into too many details on that, but Google Guarantee is one of the best ads you can do. And then the GMB is great. But I'd max out all your time on Google. SEO like crazy. Google's a long play, but those are...
the Google SEO is a long play.
Google SEO is a long play, but the GMB is the easy one that I can teach you guys how to all kill. Number one is when you're picking your location, pick it in an affluent area where there's not a lot of competition. So you pull it up, you go to this tool called Local Viking, and you find out all the competition. And then you find out where you want the GMB and make sure it's real because Google's slap you on the face so hard you won't even know. You won't wake up for the next year. So make sure everything's legit. Put your hours 24/7 and make sure you got a secondary call center because most people listening probably don't have a secondary call center. They don't understand what a round robin is. They don't have the right VoIP system. So you need to make sure you set up the right Google My Business page. And then you go like this. Do any of you out there have anybody called friends or family? Because I'll tell you this. Every time I go into a new city, I ask all my friends, family, and my friends of friends of friends of friends of friends. The law of 7 means if I call 7 people, get 7 people from them, that's 49 people. So get them and say, I'd love to do a free tune-up. We're just practicing with our new trucks. If you need a part, I'm going to go ahead and take care of it for you. You can give me a fee if you think it's worth it. But what I'd love for you to do is tell me how I did on Yelp. I'd love for you to tell me how I did on Google. I'd love for you to tell me how I did on Nextdoor. I'd love to make a video testimonial and put a yard sign in your front yard. Boom! There's my first 50 jobs all day, every day. Now I'm looking good out there. Now my reputation, because I don't care what kind of ads you do. If they go to your Google and they don't see good things, if they go to your Yelp, if they go to your Nextdoor, if they go to your Facebook, if they go to your Kazoo, Merchant Circle, there's a million of them. Next thing I do is right when you get your GMB is get a million citation sites built. If you got to look that up, there's about 1,000 citation sites you should pay a service to get. This is going to give you a great way of getting found. And then what I do is...
And for those of you that don't know, a citation, all that really is a name, address, phone number that is exactly the same throughout all web pages out there. A citation would be an example, like Yelp would actually be a citation, Facebook would be a citation, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally Yellowbot, there's YP.com, there's YP, Yellowpages.com, there's Judy's book, there's all these great places, but Google lets that build trust. A lot of times people get that done through Yext. A 50-50 if you should adopt Yext. They've got some problems when you got to do advanced verification. But the Google guarantee is you got to do a background check, okay, with every one of your employees, including the owner. And then you got to guarantee the jobs of $2,000. And most of the time it won't get opposed. But it's the best program you could be on because the leads are still very, very affordable. And those are 4 algorithms you should be running on: PPC, Google Guarantee, GMB, the Google My Business, and organic. And I don't want to go into how to dominate on Google, but a quick way to do it is...
If you want more information on how to dominate on Google, make sure that you check out our course because we can go ahead and take care of the PPC side.
So PPC is awesome. I like PPC. But the problem is with PPC that I have is the companies that don't A-B test the click-through rate, and then you got to get them to stay on the page for a while, so you got to have great content. There's a great book by Marcus Sheridan called They Ask You Answer, and it's understanding. He runs a company called River Pools. It's one of two. I'm the third highest ranking home service company I've found. 1-800-JUNK and River Pools are the only two I found that outrank me organically. I'm around a 62 or 63 PR on different, whatever you use to check your stuff. But, we've got, I think, 25,000 links. And the best way to grow links, the easy way, is call every one of the places. If you do Valpak, if you bank with somebody, I don't care. Pick every relationship. Go through your accounting software. Most of you guys probably use QuickBooks, and look at every single person you pay, and then call them up and say this. Say, Rico, you are the man. Have I ever told you how much I love you? You guys have been a great service for me, and I want to repay you. What I'd like to do is I'm going to create a video testimonial about your company. And I'm going to put a little blurb. And it's going to have all that I ask is you link it back to. I'm going to put a little link in there that says Tommy Mello from A1 Garage Door Service. And it's going to go on one of your main pages because I'm going to make you guys sound like the Taj Mahal. And you might come up with 100 names. That's a great, easy way to put a killer video. I've got a full video team. I got 3 video guys and a green screen so I can make the videos look decent. And you don't want them to look fake. You don't want to be like perfect lighting. Sometimes I'm just walking into the shop with my cell phone. And my bank did it. I got all these companies that went ahead and did that. And I'm a big fan of taking advantage of the low-hanging fruit, where most businesses, They don't know what the low-hanging fruit is. And even if they did, it seems like they just don't take advantage of it. Like, I will tell you how to get in shape. Ready? You eat healthy, okay? You eat pretty good, low carbs, more protein. Don't eat past 6. You drink 1 gallon of water a day. Stay away from high-calorie intakes. Don't drink your calories. Sleep right. And exercise. Do cardio. And here's the deal. You will get in shape. You might lose 10 to 15 pounds a month. Well, I let people come into my office all the time, and I give them the exact formula. I tell them exactly what to do. They take all kinds of notes, like the note fairy is going to come under their pillow one day and make it all happen. None of them do it. I'm telling you, there are doers in this world. There are very, very few people that will get shit done. And a lot of people, and I hate to say this, you might be listening right now saying, I'm a doer. Then freaking put this stuff that I'm telling you on your calendar right now and see it to the finish line. That's all I'm telling you. These books that I'm mentioning, you got to read. Readers are leaders. And everybody that's listening, look, you might say, this guy's full of crap, whatever. I don't really care. But if you can't get anything done and you're a victim and you just think everything, the new Biden laws, it's hard to hire. No one understands how hard it is for my business. I'll start tomorrow. I'll get started next week because I got a birthday coming up. That's everybody's BS. And I just can't, I can't hang around with people like that. I can't hang around with people that get started tomorrow. I can't hang around the people that tax season's here. Christmas is coming. I can't do this. I can't do that. They'll never be winners. So what I've learned a long time ago.
Yeah, there's always an excuse if you're looking for an excuse. Oh, yeah. And like you said, finding the low-hanging fruit is, again, it's out there. And a lot of business owners are always saying, well, I don't have the resources. Or some variation. It's because of this. It's because of that. It's because of this other thing. That's called lack of resources. But what you shouldn't have as a business owner or as an entrepreneur is lack of resourcefulness, which is exactly everything that you just said, right? Hey, look, make a quick video. How long does it really take to pull out your phone and give a video testimonial? Send it to any one of your colleagues, people that you've worked with, customers who might have a website, and get a backlink to build your SEO presence. So all of these things are really amazing. And more importantly, they really don't cost a lot. It takes the work. And it takes looking at things from a new perspective, which kind of switching gears here, because I think this is a good segue. What would be your number one piece of advice for the mindset aspect of how to stop seeing the problem and start hunting for solutions?
Well, I think that has a lot to do with a lot of things. There are people that'll find the worst in everything. For me, I got a phone call 2 weeks ago from my lawyers that said we're getting sued in Las Vegas because one of the customers took apart something and hurt himself. That was a 5-minute call. I kept it short, and I've not spent 1 minute more thinking about it. I have insurance, and it's going to come to my lawyers and my HR team. And you know what? That's out of my hands. What I could do is put time towards processes, towards systems, towards standard operating procedures. And that's where I spend my time. I create systems all day long. If there's an issue with something, I say, there's 3 things that are going to happen. Is there a problem with the system? Is it the wrong system, or was the system not being followed? Because we got to tap into the systems. That's how you grow a business. I'll tell you what. I got a poster out there. It's a canvas, and this little son is talking to his Cherokee grandfather, and he goes, "Grandpa," he goes, "can you tell me a little bit about how we make decisions?" And he goes, "Well, grandson, I'll tell you this. There's a wolf that lives inside all of us. There's 2 wolves that live inside all of us. One is greed, selfishness, pity, victimization." And he goes through, there's like 20 other words. And he goes, one is happiness, communication, finding the best in one another, sympathy. And he goes through all these great things. And the grandson goes, "Well, which wolf wins inside of us?" And he says, "Whichever one you feed." And when you feed this victimization, when you feed these things that happen, when you feed these bad things that happen all the time, I have the ability to stay focused on the good. I can see the good in anything. And all I can say is so many people, they walk into their office and they find the crap. They always say, "This is crap, this is crap, this is crap, this is crap." Imagine if you saw the good in others. Imagine if you said, "Hey, you're unbelievable, you're amazing." Yes, there's performance improvement plans. Yes, but we celebrate with everybody in public. And if we need to criticize somebody, we do it one-on-one, and we build a plan, and we tell them how much we love them and care about them. And if we could do that, if we could be that leader, then you could have a business. But there's a lot of people that I gotta say, a lot of people went into business for the wrong why, the wrong reason, the wrong purpose. And those people really don't have a shot at winning most of the time, because they went in because they thought they were a good technician. They didn't go in understanding they're going to have to be a great leader. They're going to have to start reading. They're going to have to start public speaking. They're going to have to start understanding financing and accounting. They're going to have to understand marketing. They're going to have to understand how to deal with management. They're going to understand how to hire, how to recruit. They didn't go into that. They said, "I didn't sign up for this." And a lot of them are great. They're one-man armies. The day they hire another employee, good luck. But what they thought they were getting was more freedom. But instead of having a 9 to 5, now they're 24/7. When they go out of town, they get a bunch of angry clients. You know, one of the things I always ask, Rico, if I told you, guess what? We're leaving in 2 hours, buddy. I'm taking you, your family, your dog. We're taking everything. We're going volcano tours. We're going to Hawaii. Alcohol, food, it's all covered for me. 10 speeds, swim with the dolphins. I got one rule. You don't get to call back home for a month. How does your business look in 1 month from today? Most business owners listening could say, "I don't get to look at anything. I don't get to follow up." No, because that means your systems aren't in place. If it depends on you to run the business, you don't have a business. Now, earlier I said the employees should look up to you. They work for you. And you don't want to create a place where you got a bunch of competition. So hopefully you got non-competes and non-solicits, and then you've got non-disclosure agreements. But if you need that legal document in place to keep people from leaving, then you got more issues than you even know.
So one thing that you just mentioned, which is breeding competition, and I've mentioned this in a lot of other podcasts, I believe personally that a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs are frightful when it comes down to doing their hiring, right? They are fearful that they're going to bring somebody on that is better at their job, or that's basically going to wipe out their entire organization. Obviously, this is a mindset issue. Obviously, this is a leadership issue. But in your opinion, I mean, should that be a factor? Knowing that someone is better at you, let's say at accounting or in HR, should that be the barrier between you hiring that person or just staying where you're at? Like how should an entrepreneur look at the situation?
In 2014 was the day I ran my last call. And I told my mom and stepdad, I told all my workers around me, I said, the day that I step out is the day that I find somebody that could have just as good a conversion rate and write a better ticket. And I met this guy named Matt. And he came in from another company and taught me a lot of stuff, man. He freaking murdered it. And what I learned is I want to find someone else with experience for accounting that could teach me a lot that's better than me. I want to find somebody at this. And then guess what? I don't need to learn everything they know. In fact, I hope they continue to learn. I put people through courses all the time. I got someone going through a $10,000 course in HR right now. I could give it two craps. I don't want to go through the course. I don't consider it a weakness. that people that are better than me all around me. I hope that I continue to have the best of the best. You know, here's the thing. Some people that'll bring you here can't bring you here. It's important to identify. I'm hiring now for people that could take me to $5 billion. Now, valuation. Now, if I'm a 20 times multiple, think about this. 20 times multiple. If I'm able to get to $1 billion at 20%, that's $4 billion company. That's $200 million of profit at a 20 times multiple, and that's when arbitrage gets fun. And I'll tell you this is important. This is one of the most important things I might say today, other than the arbitrage stuff. I figured out a way to do amazing things on Indeed and Glassdoor. I basically have my employees, I tell them to go check us out on there, but I tell my better employees that I know love us. You know, I barbecue for people all the time. We have breakfast, and we try to make it a great place to work. So I've been able to make sure my Indeed and Glassdoor look amazing. And we were getting great employees. We were getting 15, 17, 20 guys a month. And one day I walked upstairs and there was 12. And it just so happens that same day I have a friend of mine, her name's Vanessa. She called me up from South Carolina and she says, Tommy, she goes, me and Jody, her husband's name is Jody. It's Joe, but he goes by Jody. And she goes, me and Jody, we've been working at this trucking thing, getting CDLs. And this was like 5 months ago. And I said, well, it's impossible to find truck drivers. How are you guys doing it? She goes, you wouldn't believe it, but we're using social media, and we've got this software we're using, and we're murdering it on Instagram. We're murdering it on literally, like, when they turn this stuff on, I flew them out the next week, and I said, listen, let's see what we could do. And it's automatic interviews. They've got a whole team. When you do the math, 1A equals 3B player. You know, 1A player equals 3B. Like, my top people, if you compare my top earners compared to my bottom earners, you're talking about such a difference. So when you learn to hire the best, but you got to have a ton of candidates, you got to put the bait out there, and bait is a good thing. The more bait I can have, what's bait? It's PTO. It's barbecuing for people on a daily basis. Consider it bait, but it's considering things that I love to do for my employees, like insurance and like paying for Aflac and the Dave Ramsey program for all of them, and home ownership and improving their credit scores. But when they came in and turned it on, my applicants went to several hundreds a day. And this new class came in. One of the first, I've got 2 classes that have came through. I've got guys that'll do $2 million a year. I've got other people that'll do $300,000 a year. This class is $1 million to $2 million producers. That's unheard of in garage doors. That's what most companies of 5 technicians do. And Jody so he started taking on clients, and other than trucking, and he just can't believe the results he's getting in home service, because I just told him, I said, dude, I want to blow up your business, man, because the more people you get, I'm in 26 cities, 26 good markets. And now he's building this system, and I'm like, it's the best I've ever seen. And he's not a recruiter. He's actually a marketer. But my point about all this is when you learn what an A player could do and you start marketing and understanding. If you got a group of 10 guys, you take your top guy and your bottom guy. Imagine if you replace that bottom guy with the top guy's numbers. How much more money would you have? Imagine my top person's booking rate. Okay, let's just do this scenario real quick. You've got CSR A and B. A's at 60%, B's at 90%. They each take 20 calls a day, opportunities of booking. The average ticket's $500. They work 300 days out of the year. Do you realize that the one at 90 made you an extra $1 million? One CSR that you pay, it's just the person that answers the phone, $1 million. And you're paying them 15 and you're shitting on them. So I think the secret sauce is that they open my eyes, and I'm starting to get these top performers that are coming out, and it's like, I've always been, around 15 to 20%. That's what I want to be on the bottom line, 15 to 20%. I know companies that are at 25%. We might hit that, but typically I'm going to take that money and just splurge on my employees, because I want to make it, rather than make it super high profit, I'd rather super high growth and stick around those, because 20% is super, super healthy. 25, 30%, you're starting to maybe price gouging a little bit, maybe not taking care of employees enough, depending on the industry.
So everything that you say always goes back to, and this is where I think that anybody who's watching, anybody who's listening to the podcast, I think the big takeaway is notice that every single aspect of the business has a number associated with it. This is where you have to really dive into your numbers and understand, what does it cost you to get a phone call? What's the closing rate on that phone call to get from phone call to appointment? How many appointments do you need to get an inked deal? Like all of these numbers. And as a business owner, if you're not familiar with these numbers, you're never going to have the business of your dreams. You're never going to have the business that allows you to take 30 days off on a whim without having to check in. Because again, if you can't track it, if you can't measure it, you're never going to get it to the next level. So that's where my big takeaway is from hearing you talk. There's not one thing that you mentioned that doesn't have a number or some kind of KPI that's associated with it. One other note that I'll make here is talking about hiring and how you talk about marketing. The hiring process, in my opinion, and from what I heard you say, is in fact part of the marketing. Like if you don't have enough of a brand presence, or if you're not marketing to future employees and all you're doing is putting an ad out there, I think that's a fundamental problem. I think that's when you're just basically hiring anybody with a heartbeat. So is that kind of like your opinion? Like, do you look at the hiring process as part of the marketing aspect of your business as well?
I can't explain how important that is. I talk to these businesses and they go, dude, what the hell are you doing? How are you getting so many great people? It's impossible in this time to find anybody. And I say, well, you're spending 20 grand a month, right? To get customers and clients. Okay. I mean, I spend a lot of money, over $1 million, but you're spending that a month. What are you doing to really recruit? Well, what are you spending on the places out there? Well, I do 2 Craigslist a week. So I said, okay, so you're spending 70 a week times 4. So about $280. You're spending $10,000 when you know by top grading your CSR dispatcher and technician or getting more of them. Like people say, how are you going to come up with enough leads to support all these people you're hiring? And I say, listen, if I got a guy, what's 10% of 200,000? 20,000, right? If I just stick to a marketing budget of $20,000 a year to keep that guy busy, I can only pay, and I've done the math, around $22 a lead. When I'm doing $1 million, it's around $88. I'm sorry, it's over 100 actually. It's about 110. So when you literally do it right, you could pay more per acquisition will always win. I could win on Google. I could win on SEO. I could do more PR. I could do more yard signs. I could do more billboards, more TV, more radio. So the secret equation that no one understands, and I hate to say this, but most people still, they might hear it now, but they don't comprehend, is the secret sauce is the employees. The secret sauce is my internal customers. They know how to smile more. They know how to get more reviews. They recruit for me. They go get customers for me. When they're at the gas station, they might book 2 calls. At church, they're mentioning our name. They're literally putting the word out there. They're getting 2 of their best friends that they know are going to be great at this to come in because I give them $1,500 to recruit. But yet so many people say, it doesn't work for me. I can't recruit. Indeed doesn't work anymore. None of this stuff works. Monster, Career Builder, ZipRecruiter. None of this stuff's working. And I'm like, first of all, you got to build it internally. You got to get a recruiting system built from within. And then you got to get the reviews out there. Just like on Yelp, you got to get your Glassdoor and your Indeed. And then, you got to find a person like my buddy that understands how to do it on social media, which is Instagram, Facebook. We're doing TikTok. And then we're geofencing. Check this out. We're geofencing all my competition and all the big supply houses. So when you pop in there and you're on Instagram or something, our bonus comes up on your cell phone. And trust me, we pay really, really good. The thing is that I made sure that we could take care. People go, well, how could you afford to do all that stuff for your employees? It's because I charge enough. See, I got to charge my clients enough to pay for all this stuff. When you're working at your house and your wife's working for free and your son's working at minimum wage, and then you complain about my prices. I had 20 companies upstairs, right? And I asked them, an HVAC unit costs $2,200. Some people sell it for 15 grand. That's a 7 times multiple. I did 10 different trades. I go, let's just take a garage door and opener. Let's say it costs $1,500. Are you guys charging $10,500? And they laughed. They go, how could you sleep at night? And I said, what about $7,000? They said, no way. 20 companies. I said $5,000. They said, well, maybe you get away with that. And I said, so you basically think I'm screwing over my customers? They said, yeah, for those prices. I said, you know what I think you're screwing over? You're screwing over your family and your employees. Do any of them have PTO as much as mine? Do any of them have a brand new vehicle with the best CRM, with a brand new Apple? Do any of them have a retirement fund? Can you guys afford to do billboards like the plumbers can and the roofers can? So don't talk to me about my customers when you literally are shitting on all your employees. And every single guy in that room and gal, they went out and they walked out and they shook my hand and they said, we're going to raise our prices. Because you're not just trying to make a living. You got to realize you got to make a couple $100,000 a year as an owner, or maybe even $100,000, depending on the size. If you were like me, I made $60,000 my first year. But you got to make a living, and then your company still has to make 15 or 20%. They're completely different. Most business owners go, I go, how much did you make last year? 300 grand. They start laughing. And I go, oh, okay, well, what did the business make? Well, I just told you 300 grand. Well, then your business is worth zero because I got to pay a new guy to run it 300 grand. So therefore you're worth nothing. You're worth zilch. Your business is crap. And they don't like that answer.
Oh, of course not. Right. And here's something, an interesting tidbit, because I know that there's going to be people that are watching this that are solely water mitigation, mold remediation, biohazard cleanup, fire and smoke and all of that stuff. And a lot of these guys are billing insurance, right? And they, for some reason, the selling has been removed and they don't see themselves as salespeople, which is a huge mistake, right? The way that I built our company was we built it on cash first, insurance second. And our prices, you know, when we started making that transition from cash and taking on a lot more of the insurance work, everybody always thought that I must have been discounting my prices on the cash side. And I wasn't. I was actually making more pound for pound for the exact same project on my cash prices than I was based on insurance billing. So what I want to take away and make sure that I highlight here is, for all of you companies out there that are watching and listening, if you're billing insurance and you're like, hey, this doesn't apply to me, let me be the first one to tell you this exactly applies to you. Because if you don't have a cash side of the business, you need to learn really fast how to develop that cash side of the business. Because again, when you're invoicing insurance and insurance is paying you whatever it is that they want to pay, or they're questioning every single line item, this is where having, number one, the branding, and number two, the positioning, as well as the proper pricing in order for you to generate the kind of revenue that you deserve.
Can I explain something real quick? Because I'm getting huge into, you familiar with SVG, Anthony Domenico?
Yes,
yes.
Anyway,
he calls me up one day and he says, dude, I want you to be my garage door guy. And I said, how so? He goes, dude, I see you all over the place, man. You guys are blowing it up. I see like 40 of your trucks this week. He goes, no one cares about garage doors. They care about roofing. They care about aluminum siding. They care about everything else, but the garage door is kind of a bullshit. We get it to collect the deductible, crap like that. And I love this insurance game. It's a freaking joke to me. So you're telling me I deal with the adjuster, and I get an estimator, which we're hiring a full-time estimator. We'll probably have 5. I want to be the garage door guy across North America. So you're telling me, wait a minute, because I get the best multiple from my vendors. No one could compete because of my buying power. But the insurance adjuster will say it's worth, I'm going to use garage doors. We'll say it comes back at $2,000. I could argue it up, and most companies don't do this. I could get it to $2,700 all day, every day. But most people take the $2,000 because they want to move out of the next house and door knock or whatever the hell they do. Now, here's the great thing: is this is like the nut thing that no one else is doing. Is I can say, hey, Mr. Rico, it's Tommy Mello here, A1 Garage Door Service. I just wanted to give you a quick call, and I got great news, absolutely wonderful news. Listen, I got the insurance company to cover everything like for like. That means brand new doors, brand new hinges, brand new springs, brand new bottom rubber. Everything's going to be replaced, and they're covering 100% of the labor. And that's where a lot of the money comes in on these garage doors is labor. Now, listen, when I inspected the door, I noticed your opener was 15 years old. I also noticed it was non-insulated. They're covering a like-for-like non-insulated door. So I'll tell you what, because they're covering all the labor, which is about a $700 value, I can get you upgraded into a lifetime package with that insulated door that'll pay itself back in 4 years because if the door closes, that's just your electric bill, and a new opener for $1,500 more. But here's the best part. I can get it for $40 a month, same as cash, for 5 years. Now, that gives you the package. It's all warranty through us. You'll never have to deal with this company again. And by the way, Rico, you picked the best insurance company out there. Not a lot of companies would cover the labor like they are, and I make it sound like the best thing ever. And they say, no, I don't want to do all that. Well, listen, what if we just do this then? And most likely, 4 out of 5 times, I'm closing. But here's what I'm getting.
Right. So let me just stop you right there, because this is so important for our side of the restoration industry. The roofing has kind of got this to some degree, but again, the water mitigation, mold remediation, all of this other restoration side of the business, this is the big missing key that I have been preaching. You have to find the cash. And number one, the first thing, you just went into a full pitch right now. And in this pitch, you made it sound fantastic, number one. And then more importantly, you followed up with an offer. If you're not making an offer, there's like no one's winning. The customer isn't winning because they're not getting the upgrade, right? And your company isn't increasing its profits. So find a way, guys, to look at your business, look at what it is that you're offering, try to make whatever it is that the insurance company is giving you, make that look good, to the customer, but at the same time, make sure that you have a follow-up cash offer, something that can go ahead and offset some of your costs and things of that nature. So I just love that idea and how you're looking at it, because again, this is one of those elements in the business, in the restoration side, that a lot of people are missing, because they say, hey, this is only insurance. It's almost like they totally forget that the customer actually has money to spend.
Well, check this out. Now, this is where it gets fun for me. This is where I get absolutely goosebumps thinking about it. Is you take a sample size of 30, 30, and 30. One of them, you use sumo estimates, and you send exactly, and you go over with the customer one-on-one. And the problem is, you do not send a freaking voicemail to these people. Forget voicemail, forget email. You send them a text message with a Calendly to make an appointment with them. And you can do it over Zoom. Face-to-face is 10 times better. Number one. Number two, you can send an automatic text message with a video of all the upgrades and give them choices. And it's great. And number three is you have different offers. You play around with the plan a little bit. You do financing. You do different things. And if you're able to do this, I was at a thing with Gary Vee. I talked to him for a couple hours, and he said, I think the biggest mistake, Tommy, is a lot of times we offer one offer, one or two things. We don't A/B test it against something else. We don't figure out different ways to deliver it. And I look at a lot of these companies, and I'm like, who the hell leaves a voicemail? Who the hell just emails somebody and wants them to get back to me? You know, here's what I do. If I'm out recruiting, if I'm at a restaurant, a fine restaurant, and a busboy's kicking ass, you think I hand him my card? Hell no. I give him a card and I say, dude, you're special. You're unlike anybody I've ever seen. Do me a favor. I work at A1 Garage Doors. I'm actually the owner. I'm not the hiring manager, but you are a kick butt, dude. Not only do you want a career, but if you want your credit better, you want to own a house, you want to make an amazing living for yourself and your family. Here's what I want to do. I got 2 times next week you can come in and tour the shop. I can get you on a ride along. Which one works better for you? Just do me a favor. I'm going to get your number and I'm going to text you right now. That way I can bug the shit out of them. A lot of people say, here's my card, come see me one day. Like, that's a bunch of crap. If you want to get it, you got to go out and get it. All these business owners, most of them out there, they go, oh, well, I left a voicemail and they didn't call me back, so they must not want it. I'm like, dude, you're pathetic. You are pathetic. Like, you want the whole world to land in your hands. And just, you got to work a little harder or work a little smarter. That's why I got to tell you, when I'm delegating, I got to be very, very thorough on the exact process. That's why I got a whiteboard. I got a whiteboard in my kitchen, but I got a whiteboard in every room here.
So it's funny because a lot of people don't want to. They feel that follow-up, quote-unquote follow-up, is calling one time or sending an email or sending, something with no life to it. So if you're adding an employee, if you're recruiting an employee or chasing down a deal, that employee could potentially generate how much in revenue? Like, for your company? Like, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars potentially, and then you're not going to go after that person, and you're going to just kind of, in some way, just almost disrespect how good they are by just saying, hey, shoot me a call whenever it is that you want, right? It's so important as a business owner to take a step back and say, hey, look, every single aspect of my business is either falling into marketing, operations, or selling. And if you're not doing one of those 3 things, you're basically having your, a day off. So I just think it's really interesting, man, like how you're looking at it. And as a business owner that's built a multi-million-dollar business, this is what it takes. Like, this is kind of the playbook of what it takes, like how aggressive you are with the selling, the marketing aspect, the market share, and then how deep you're getting with all of the numbers. I think that this is something that people could really take away from and take a look at themselves and say, all right, I'm missing one of these portions of the business.
Well, look, here's another good thing, is you mentioned this earlier, is what if I train them and they leave? What if I teach them everything and they leave? But here's what I say. What if I train them everything and they stay? So now I look at these employees and I go, wait a minute. I had a guy recruit 10 guys last quarter. He made $15,000. Now, that's nothing in the scheme of things for me. Now, what I'm working on right now is an automatic way to share all the top Facebook posts. We A/B test. We run 10 ads. The one that does the best, it goes viral. That's small virality, but they get the most views, and we A/B test. I'm sending to everybody's phone that has a Facebook page and an Instagram page. Then I'm teaching them how to build communities. And people are like, you're almost teaching them how to run their own business. Absolutely. But I'm doing all the fulfillment for them. If they could get 10 leads a day and make an average of $50 a lead, that's $500. Recruit one person a month, so $500 a week plus $1,500 is an extra $3,500 that person makes. Now, if I could get, that's for doing no work whatsoever except for contacting friends and posting a few things. Now, $3,500 on top of their normal pay, no one can compete with that pay. So now I could go out there and pick anybody. I got the pick of the litter. Like, no one can touch me, right? And now A players love A players. A players hate to hang out with B and C players. They bring them down. They're not fun. They're just not passionate. So I'm teaching people so much more. And here's the thing is I'm obsessed with the people. I'm obsessed with the employees. And they're my coworkers. I really say, when I'm in front of them, I'm like, yeah, we work together. The deal is when you give more to them, you should see what can happen. And I think I'm a 6 out of 10. Literally, I don't think I'm where I need to be. We're hiring a full-time dream manager. Acknowledging, listen, when we hire a new employee, especially a tech, we've had a few women techs, but mostly men. I'm sending their wife flowers and saying, thank you for being part of the team. We're getting to know their kids and their birthdays and acknowledging their kids on Christmas and their birthdays. We're acknowledging the anniversary dates. We want to take them to dinner. Like, the deal is those are the best things ever, because when you come home from work after a hard day and you worked your butt off and things didn't go right, the CSR made a mistake, you want your wife and kids going, man, that place is fire though, man. That place is the best thing that's ever happened to us. And when you could bring this whole thing together as a community, it's crazy what can happen. And it really, really is. But you got to change your mindset. And it's so easy to say, well, the people it's easy for him to say, because it really did. It took us to be successful for me to see it. But now it's literally like steroids. It's like, holy crap. Now we're able to grow exponentially. Now it's like, holy crap. I think I could get we bought the building next to ours because we outgrew this 40,000 square foot building. So we bought another 40,000 square feet. And I'm telling you, I think I could get 100 technicians a month by second quarter of next year coming through here, which is freaking nuts. And people say, well, how are you going to get the phone calls? No. I don't need to get the phone calls. They'll get the phone calls. I can pay the newspaper. I can pay a lot of money per phone call. And it takes some time to get in there, but then I'm sponsoring the freaking helicopter for the channel news. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter because money's not an issue. I got to blow it up as quick as possible. But more importantly, I can buy out companies. See, if I buy, this is beautiful. Check this out. Just if you guys are out there, you got a notepad, write down $300,000 a year. You find 100 of these companies that you could buy. You tell them how good their lives are going to be, which they will. Now you go into these companies and you give them low money down. You don't have to pay them a ton of money because you're going to make them. I'm going to split. They're worth right now. I'm going to go up. I'm going to say they're worth 4 times multiple, so 1.2 million. Now I get them to $1 million. That's 700,000 times 4. That's 2.8 million. I'm going to split that with them. So I'll give them 1.4 plus 1.2. They'll make 2.6. I'll still leave them some retained ownership. Now I do this with very little money down. I do it 100 times. Do you realize that is a $2 billion company by buying $300,000 companies? Doesn't it make you excited? Because I got to put very little money down. A couple $100,000 to let them keep the money in the account, give them a raise. They're winning because they're going to get 2.6 million, and we get a $2 billion company. That's how I'm able to say in the beginning that I could go get 60 companies next year, but I could make them all winners. I can make them love it.
Right.
I could show, and then they talk to the employees that are getting all their dreams, and that now it starts to spread like wildfire. It's amazing when you help other people how quick it comes back to you, and it's truly got to come from the bottom of your heart that you want them to succeed. Because very few owners, they say, what's in it for me? You know what? I'm very selfish because I want to see them buy a house because that's a selfish thing of me. I get so excited and I get pumped up because I'm selfish and I want to see them succeed. I want to see my employees succeeded over anybody else's. I'm a selfish guy and I love to see people win, especially that work with me. So that is, there's no such thing as a free lunch. I get gratitude. I get this feeling when somebody wins with me that it's addicting. And I want more of it. And I got to say, it probably is out of selfishness, but there's a good product that's a byproduct of it that people get to buy a house to get a great credit score.
Well, and here's the thing. So many business owners today is like, oh, well, everybody's entitled. Like, everybody's looking for the next opportunity. Well, of course. Like, if someone has a dream of buying a home or driving a halfway decent car or sending their kids to a halfway decent school and you're not paying them anything and they can't match that lifestyle, right? Of course, these people, it's natural for an A player to say, okay, this is a D company. I got to find an organization that I can either jive with, or I'm going to have to branch out and do it myself. So the sooner that owners start to understand that one of your biggest asset, if not the biggest asset, is the asset of people, right? And then how those people feel about working with your organization, that's really where you start scaling a company. And I think that it's wonderful that you talk about how much pride you have when you see one of your people buy their home, right? Because again, all of a sudden now what that means is that this person, like your organization, you provided them with the platform and the security and the peace of mind to go into, that real estate investment, right? That dream home for their family. And I think more businesses should really look at it and say, instead of me pocketing an additional $200, $300 million, or whatever it is, how is it that I can invest back in my people so that I can have people that are buying into me, buying into the company vision, and that are going to be cheerleaders for my organization, and byproduct of that are going to bring in more A players.
Oh, it's when you watch it happening, the air, it's different in here. Everything's different. It's like, it's self-policing. It's people watching out. It's people picking up garbage in the parking lot when nobody's watching. I got a window right now that sees the whole park. Like, look, it's like they care more, and they don't. And then here's what happens: is you don't lose employees all the time. You see, I see people that are so good at recruiting, but they don't keep their current employees, and I'm like, wow. And they're constantly top grading. I got a consultant that I just hired. He wrote The Sales Boss. His name's Jonathan Wistman. I hired another consultant. I hire consultants probably 2 a month. And they're expensive. They're very, very expensive. I don't want to undercut what they do. They deliver, but the value is what I'm trying to create is I need as much help as possible. That's why I'm reading a new book once a week, bare minimum. That's why I'm getting ready to start this thing called 75 Hard with another 10 guys.
Oh yeah, Andy Frisella.
Yeah, so we're doing that, and I'm constantly trying to figure out who else I could hire to come in and help mold us and shape us and get us more training. And when somebody leaves here, which they will, I'll have employees that leave. I want them to say, that changed my life. My life was better. I gained more knowledge, more self-awareness, more self-respect. I gained a house. I gained a credit score. I was able to do the things with my family. And if someone wants to come here for 4 years and they want to start their own business, I'm all for it. We'll help them start their own business. And at the end of the day, even if they're competition, one day I have guys that have left here, started their own businesses. We still talk all the time. I don't care. But it's not, when it comes out of really helping people, these guys, I'd rather them be my best friends than be my enemies. And that's just the way I've always thought is, if you guys want to go do that, hell, I'd rather you not take my manuals and steal everything that I spent 20 years building. But at the end of the day, whatever you guys need for me to do, I'll help you. And I think it's important. And a lot of things, believe it or not, you don't need to tell people you do it. A lot of times everybody needs to know, make sure you put that in the PR. We get PR, we do this, we do that. It's nice to get 2 birds with 1 stone and have the news come shoot something or have the whole company know you changed somebody's tires. But at the end of the day, I think that's done out of the wrong reasons. And I think when you really can build it in your heart, in your head, to do this out of love and compassion, that's when I think, and I am religious, but not super religious, but I think God sees that and he just decides to pour on the generosity. And really, over time, the money is only an object to do things. You can do what you want, when you want, with who you want, which is great. But there's something about gratitude that it's so different when you get big enough and the money's there. And there's something beyond money. And people go, well, and they always say that. But you hear all the richest people. You hear Denzel Washington. You hear Arnold Schwarzenegger. You hear all these great, amazing people saying money is just a tool. And it really is. And there's something so much better.
So, but when people say that, and again, because I've heard so many people say that, and there was a point in time where I didn't have like 2 nickels to rub together. Like we were starting our business, like we didn't figure it out. I was like, okay, that's really nice, right? So I'm always conscious of that. Like there's people that are watching and listening, and great, okay, that's great. It's a tool. But only up until it's a tool, right? Because between the time that you're trying to figure everything out, it's a necessity. It's like more important than air at some point, right? Because you don't have the money for even to run an ad to get these great employees. You don't have like all of this stuff, right?
But here's the deal. My mom and dad got a divorce. My dad cheated on my mom. I was 7 years old. I saw my sister who was 13 crying. My mom raised me, got me into sports. My dad helped out as much as he could. My grandma was there every day. I can tell you the sob story, but I always say my grandma was the best cook ever. I had 2 Christmases, 2 birthdays. My mom was a bartender, a server, and a real estate agent. She worked her butt off. And trust me, I know the value of money. I don't need to pretend here that I had a silver spoon. No one paid for anything for me. I never took a loan. I bounced checks before, and I had to go work an extra shift. When I was 12 years old, I got a job as a dishwasher under the table at $4 an hour. When I was 12, I'd walk home from middle school and go wash dishes. So the deal is, I know what it's like to grind. I know what it's like to not be given anything. And guess what? I made my own luck. But the deal is even when I was 16 years old, I started a Roth IRA. And I put $300 a month away. And I can tell you this. Right now I have $500,000 in a Roth that didn't come from this business. But what I did was I invested in my future. And the thing is, when you have $40,000 a year, if you can't save a few $100 a month, you'll never be able to save it when you're 60, 90, 150, or 200. My sister, and I love her dearly, she does very well with her husband. He's a CIO at GE. They make lots and lots of money. They don't have any money. So I'm telling you, the more money you make, don't act like the thing is that the people that are listening, just don't pretend that one day more money is going to solve all your freaking problems, because that's BS and you're lying to yourself. You're going to get to buy. The more money you have, you heard more money, more problems. Now you're going to have shit breaking on you. Why do you think Elon Musk lives in an apartment? Why do you think Grant Cardone lives in a small... Like, the deal is shit starts to break. You got more people stealing from you. You got all kinds of issues. And now you're like, no. And then you're wondering why people are hanging around with you for the wrong motives. Yes, money is important to have a good car, to have a good roof over your head, to be able to take your kids to do nice things to a certain extent. But trust me, there's the opposite side of that. Like, it's evil and it's bad and it's jealousy and it's envy and it's plague and it's disgusting. And yes, I know what you're saying and I understand that. And I want more money too. I work for money. But you know what? I also have been a big part of philanthropy, and I give millions of dollars away a year. So yes, to me, money is kind of like the race. It's kind of like, did I win the race or not? But there's also, if someone fell down along the way, am I going to help them up? So I don't know. I just could tell you that I've been on both sides, and I prefer to have money, but to a certain extent.
And I totally get what you're saying. What I'm simply referring to is, sometimes it's hard to see yourself out of the situation. And what my point is, based on what you're saying, is, guys, like, for those of you that are out there that are just trying to figure out, hey, you just started your business, you're trying to get to your first $500,000 in revenue, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, whatever that number is for you. It's a matter of, how do you look at the situation when money is really, really tight in your business and you have to make those tough calls? Is it the KPIs that are the driving force? Is it sometimes taking a step back and, shrinking or downsizing your personal life in order to go ahead and build a strong foundation? That's what I'm trying to get at, right?
Yeah, like, Elon Musk
for the smaller guy, what is it that you do? What kind of advice do you give to that smaller company whose money's so tight that they are saying, hey, well, Tommy, that's great that you're spending $1 million in SEO, or whatever that number is, right? It's arbitrary, whatever that number is. But I'm trying to figure out how to put together $1,000 for a mailer campaign. Is it, hey, put the boots on, go knock on some doors, go shake some hands, kiss some babies? You know what I mean? Like,
do whatever you have to do. Here's the deal. Take sacrifice. Here's the problem is, Elon Musk lived at the apartment. He used to shower at the YMCA. You learned about his first business when he moved out with his brother. He coded all night. The website was on all day, and he took sacrifice. The first thing that you need to understand is sacrifice. You're not going to be able to go to that fine dinner. You're not going to be able to drink wine, the best wines. Here's the deal. Everybody with a paycheck, everybody I know that gets paid this Friday, guess what? They're going to go to a nice dinner. But come Thursday, the day before their paycheck, they're going to be eating Campbell's soup. It's ridiculous when I see. It's horrible because you don't deserve anything. You deserve is to get to grind, to go out there. And my big thing is, look, it's the CEO that sees around corners. There's Jay Abraham said that, but you got a cake, right? You want to cut it into to 6 equal parts. And there's another way to do it. You could cut it in half this way, and then you could cut it in multiple stages. It's seeing that everything, it's understanding when you look at a problem and coming up with different ways to solve it. And for me, I know right now that if I needed to make money, you took everything away from me. You threw me in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to figure out a way. Because, listen, I don't know how to lose. I don't hang around with losers. I don't know how to lose. I figure out a way when no one else does. When somebody goes shows me a problem, I say, here's 3 people I'm going to call, and have we ever tried this, or this? And they go, where did you come up with that? And I said, it's not that hard, because I've been here before. And you show me any problem, right. Let me learn, and I will freaking figure out a solution. And I got to tell you, the people with the excuses will always have excuses. And the mindset's got to be, how the hell do I dig my way out of here? And sometimes it's not the easy answer. Sometimes it's grind. Sometimes it's work harder. Sometimes it's sacrifice your daughter's birthday. And I hate to say this, but next year I'm going to ask all my employees to sacrifice everything for more. And it's not because I don't want them to have time, but this next year is a very, very important year for us, because I'm going to go find, most likely in the next 2 years, an equity partner. And what does that mean? That means that they're all going to get a piece of something. And there's going to be a lot of sacrifices made. And those that don't want to make it, we'll see.
You got to make the tough calls. You got to make the tough calls in your business, in your personal life. And sometimes you just got to put your pride to the side and say, hey, look, what does it take, right? And again, it's about resourcefulness. You've mentioned throughout this entire interview so many different little nuggets of resourcefulness. It's not the blatant answer. It's not the I can throw money at it and get the result answer. It's how being creative with what it is that you have. So, Tommy, the Home Service Millionaire book, by the way, I've had this for a while. I love the book. I flip through this from time to time because there's so much. It's a pretty fast read, but you've packed in a lot of different CEOs that you brought into this book. If someone wanted to go ahead and get a copy of the book and also just follow you personally in your company's growth, where would they go to do that?
Well, there's two spots. Go to homeservicemillionaire.com/free. I think it's like $9 for shipping and handling. I lose money on that, but the book really does have 12 co-authors that did an amazing job. It took me 2 years to write it. Well, when you write a book, you want everything to be perfect, and it's far from perfect. But so you got that book, and then if you look up homeserviceexpert.com, I bring on guests like Michael Gerber and Ken Goodrich with Gettle, and really smart people that have taught me. You see, podcasting for me was a cheap way to get in front of people that would charge me $10,000 an hour to work with. So once again, it's helping a lot of people, but I did it out of probably more of a selfish perspective. And if you guys look up a1garage.com, we're doing a lot of cool things. We just raised 25,000 bottles of water for the homeless here in Phoenix. We're doing a jacket. We're doing jackets in Michigan. We try to do one. We're doing a cancer awareness this month. Just always, if you guys want good ideas on how to set up a blog and how to do things, just follow a1garage.com or go to YouTube. But like I said, my plan is Home Service Expert and Tommy Mello will become the biggest brand in home service because I think we got a lot to give. And there's nothing better, Rico, than when someone messages me or texts me or calls me up or emails me and says, you changed my life. I'm a better father. I'm a better husband. I can finally spend time with my kids. I'm finally successful. And I get these stories, and that makes me drive 10 times harder. So I appreciate you letting me on the podcast, man. And, I haven't done a podcast this long in a hot minute, and it felt like 10 minutes. It really did. It just...
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. A couple more questions and I'll let you go. Top 3 or 5 must-read books that every entrepreneur or business owner should read.
All right, ready? Go for No by Marcus Sheridan. Or I'm sorry, Go for No is...
if you've got the titles, just give me the titles. I'll put the rest of them in this.
And then you got to read They Ask You Answer. Read Never Lose a Customer Again. Read The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. Read The Richest Man in Babylon. Read E-Myth Revisited. That's the top one. I can keep going, but you asked for those. and there's some amazing books on this that are just... And then read Built to Sell. Amazing book.
Built to Sell. And your opinion on mentorship and coaching on a scale from 1 to 10, how important is it?
10. I would not be where I was today without hiring a ton of people and reading a ton of books. I'm the first one to ask for help. I think that's probably one of my strengths and weaknesses. If we're lost, I already asked 10 people where to go. I don't want to even pick up a new task without calling 10 people and figuring out the best way. If you got a book, I want to freaking find the cliff notes and find out the important pages. I'll read it if it's really good, but I'm always looking for that angle. And if I could get a consultant that's an expert at something that could come in and teach every day, all day, I'll hire them all day.
Would you have gotten coaching or mentorship earlier on in your career? If you had to redo everything all over again,
would be the first thing I would have done. I would have gone in and followed people.
Awesome.
Finnegan.
Awesome, brother. Well, thank you so. Look at that. You got the office pal there. Well, Tommy, again, man, thank you so much for jumping on the show. I mean, tons and tons of value. We literally could have probably gone for at least another hour and a half just jamming.
Easy, man.
So I do appreciate your time. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
See you on the next one, all
Rico.
right?
Great job.
You've been listening to Restoration Domination, interviewing the restoration business's top industry insiders, the movers and shakers, the hustlers and hackers. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. Hook up with us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Restoration Domination to catch video interviews, highlights, and behind-the-scenes content. And follow your host at Rico Garcia Jr. Till next time, this is Restoration Domination. Hustle, hack, Dominate.